back. AT&T sales coming in better than estimated thanks to big discounts on the iPhone. For more on this, we're joined by Mizuho Securities analyst Michael Nelson. He has an outperform rating on the stock. Michael, good to have you here with us.
Great to be here.
And also on set is Dom and Adam. So we're going to walk through these AT&T numbers. Do you like this report?
I do. I think they're favorable results, really highlighted by strong wireless results, and particularly postpaid or contract subscribers. It looks like AT&T successfully defended its turf after losing the iPhone exclusivity.
And that is remarkable, correct?
It is. This is far better than I think what virtually anyone expected.
Well, it's also good because AT&T is one of the industry leaders when it comes to that kind of the prepaid side and the postpaid side of the business as well, right? So it's not just about what happens with those subscribers, but wireless across the board.
Yes, and what we're seeing, the trend overall in wireless, in particular for AT&T, is explosive growth in wireless data revenues. And obviously that's being facilitated by strong smartphone sales like the iPhone and Android devices.
Yeah, talk about the Android, because Android up 2 times. I mean, when was the last time you saw anything go up 2 times?
Right. I mean, to be fair, AT&T is starting with a much smaller base of Android subscribers. You know, for a long time, the only game in town really for smartphones for AT&T was the iPhone. But what it shows is that, again, they're able to combat the loss of iPhone exclusivity with strong iPhone sales and Android sales. I think that's very important.
All right, I'm going to bring in a mic because I think your mic isn't working so well, so I'll give that to you. What about the churn rate, Michael? Because it went up to 1.43%. That's higher than the last quarter, and we're seeing that trend line. It continues to go up. Do we have to be worried about that?
No, because importantly, the postpaid churn or contract churn was in line. That did not see a significant spike. The spike came from kind of prepaid and other connected devices, so things that are much, I guess, lower value subscribers.
You find it interesting that we're sitting here talking so much about wireless with the traditional Ma Bell out there with AT&T.
Right, sure.
Now, if we talk about AT&T, Verizon, the 2 big titans here, LTE, 3 important letters, long-term evolution. That's that 4th generation wireless network. Verizon, very aggressive about marketing and getting that out there. When does AT&T catch up to them?
Well, it's going to take a while for them to catch up. In order to catch up, I think they're relying on the T-Mobile deal going through and using a lot of that spectrum. But I do expect an update from the company this morning at the conference call at 10 o'clock on the LTE plans. They are, I believe, on track to launch LTE in 5 markets right around now. They said by midsummer, and to cover 70 to 75 million people with LTE by the end of the year. So they are making slow progress, but they are behind Verizon.
Capital expenditures increasing by $1 billion to $20 billion.
Yes.
Put that in perspective. Is that significant? Is it less than expected? Are they confident in the business?
Yeah, I mean, I think that most of that increase is going on the wireless side. Probably 100% of that increase is on the wireless side, and that's to support the robust increase in wireless data growth. So
because everyone's going to a smartphone, you got to have the internet. You got to support it.
Yeah, a smartphone adoption certainly is a double-edged sword. You know, there are some unintended consequences of having increased utilization on the network, as AT&T certainly experienced.
But you can also charge more for it, so your margins are better. So you're willing to invest that additional $1 billion.
Yes, and I think that is actually an important point, because in the quarter, wireless margins actually outperformed, and I think that was one of the highlights of the quarter.
All right, so what about that T-Mobile acquisition? Are we going to get this through?
I think ultimately it does get through, but clearly in recent days we've seen the number of people come out and oppose.
Lawmakers coming out.
Yes, and the regulatory approval process inherently is a political process. It's a very fluid situation. I mean, AT&T does have some of the most powerful lobbyists on the Hill. I do expect the deal will ultimately get done, but not without significant concessions and divestitures of spectrum and assets.
So, Michael, you sound pretty confident about this company. So, what's the big risk to AT&T at this point?
Well, a big risk certainly is the deal not going through.
Right.
I think right now investors are pretty much expecting that the deal will go through, and certainly management is putting a lot on the deal going through, saying that pretty much that they're going to run out of spectrum if the deal doesn't go through. So that's the biggest risk.
Business spending highest in 6 quarters. That's a positive.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, for AT&T, actually the wireline side, you did see some positive trends. They continue to transform the business as UVerse continues to scale, and they see very strong growth in areas such as business services revenues.
We got to run. Michael, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Michael Nelson, he's got an outperform on AT&T.